One Man Kru and Drunk Zambini, the Keepaz Of The Krypt. You guys have been the subject of a lot of controversy as of late. We'll touch on that later. But is there anything you guys would want to say about it before we dive into anything?
This probably be better something for him to answer. I honestly don't have anything to say about it. And I see where people are going with shit when they're saying shit online, but here, let me just pass this on. I don't fucking... It's all aimed at you anyway, so...
Honestly, man, everybody in the Juggalo world knows that I've got beef with Violent J, but I just want to say that is, strictly professional, on the business side of music, but the thing is I take my art very personally, so I've said a lot of abrasive things, and a lot of people out there have reached out to me who also have a problem with Violent J from Insane Clown Posse, and they have expressed to me things that have vindicated the things that I've said and felt about Joe Bruce, aka Violent J, but they've also brought to my attention things that I shouldn't even be talking about, like certain allegations about certain things, and those people, I feel like they know that I don't like Violent J, so I think they may have tried to use me as a patsy or try to rile me up and be their spokesperson to deliver their narrative to the masses, and I don't want to be that guy. That's not who I am. That's not what this is about. I have posted things on social media that people have sent me, and I have riffed on it, but I am not the perpetuator of that narrative. That is not from that side of it, all the allegations and whatnot. That is strictly coming from other sources, and I have made mention about it in some diss tracks, but other than that, man, I don't have nothing to do with that. I don't like Joe Bruce because I feel like he has wronged me, and I feel like that's everybody who knows me knows why I feel that way. But other than that, man, I don't have anything else to say about it.
So let's get into your album. How did you get Tommy Chong on the intro?
I reached out to Tommy through an app called Cameo, which is what I use to reach out to celebrities to ask them to do things for me. In fact, that's what I used when I first reached out to Violent J about producing some music for him. And it's a very useful tool to be able to have access to celebrities. So I recommend any upcoming artist or producer or entertainer or actor, if you want to collaborate with a celebrity or an artist, I highly recommend using Cameo to reach out to celebrities, because it's done a lot for me professionally.
It's definitely a good platform. Zambini, why'd you guys name the album the Astronomic Dr. Khronik?
That was his idea. We were gonna do a Joker card. Originally, the cover, which I thought was whack, he had just a black, he was trying to make it like the Metallica Black album crossed with fucking Dr. Dre, the Khronik,
the
2001 and shit. And I suggested making the weed leaf into a face or whatever. So he got with this artist. Who is it? The guy with Monstar? Didn't he do Monstar shit?
Yeah.
Okay, we got with that guy, and he told him what we wanted to do, and he came back with some dope shit. So we had to come up with a name. That's when we decided it was gonna be like a parody of a Joker card. So whatever. Ultimately, One Man Kru came up with the name of the album and the character and the lore behind it and shit like that. So I don't know if you got something or what.
When I was coming up with that,
Not so close. Try to keep it more down here. See where my mic is?
LB, thank you for exposing me on the internet.
You're gonna edit, aren't you?
You need to be media trained, right?
Yeah, that's what I tell him all the time. He needs media training. because like this motherfucker will get hammered and be like, dude.
But I'm not drunk right now.
Yeah.
I am drinking, but this is like my first.
It's a miracle. No, I'm just kidding. So anyway, to answer your question, when I was coming up with the name, the Astronomic Dr. Khronik, I was thinking about, because he and I were talking about parodying the Insane Clown Posse Joker cards because of my beef with Violent J. So I was thinking Carnival of Carnage. How can I use that but make it a weed? Something to do with weed, because I love my two favorite albums ever were Metallica's Black Album and Dr. Dre's The Khronik in the Khronik 2001. So like he was saying, I came up with an artwork that was like a mashup of Dr. Dre 2001 and the Black Album, but he thought it was whack, and he was like, why don't you put a smiley face on the weed leaf? And I was like, dude, that's a terrible idea. That's fucking whack as fuck. Because he made like a little mock-up of it, and I was looking at it.
Yeah, because you just wanted this simple fucking weed leaf. And like, I know you tear me down how I'm whack all the fucking time. But what's funny is like you took the fucking idea from me and then later tried to be like, dude, I finally figured it out. I came up with it. And it's like, and it was like, the argument was short because I just wanted to let him control it. Like, there's nothing. It was dope. Like, he finally realized like it's something dope we could do.
Yeah.
So that's
Anyway, so yeah, what I did was I took his original idea and I brought in the element of parodying the Joker card albums because he wanted to do that for his solo shit. But after the last time I reached out to Violent J to try to like squash the beef and be cool with him, he said something to me that really pissed me off and made me realize that it's never going to happen. We are never going to squash the beef ever. So I was like, alright, so I want to take his ideas, not only parodying the Joker cards, but his smiley face on a weed leaf idea. And I was like, what if I mashed those two together and made a Joker card weed leaf album? And at first I wanted to call it Carnival of Khronik. And I was like, and I hit him with that idea. It's like, nah, dude, that's fucking a whack idea. Even the whole fucking Joker card gimmick shit, he didn't want to do none of it. But I was like, you know what, fuck what he says. I'm going to pay this guy, this artist, Kiefer Baker, to come up, and he's known for making Juggalo art. And he came up with the artwork for the Astronomic Dr. Khronik.
Yeah, I already said that part.
It was so fucking dope that I was like, we're going with this shit. Like, we're gonna fucking use this shit. And so I was trying to think of something that kind of sounds like Carnival of Carnage, but has something to do with weed, and it just hit me out of nowhere. It don't really rhyme with Carnival of Carnage, but it has kind of like that kind of tone, the Astronomic Dr. Khronik. You know, Carnival of Carnage, Astronomic Dr. Khronik. So it's not, it don't really rhyme, but it's kind of similar to that. So I was thinking of something what would sound like a Joker card name. You know what I mean? Like the Great Malenko, the Amazing Jekyll Brothers. So I was like, the Astronomic Dr. Khronik. That's perfect. And it still pays homage to the Khronik and Dr. Dre, Dr. Khronik. So that's, to answer your question, that's how I came up with the name, the Astronomic Dr. Khronik. But yeah, it was me and him, as you can tell, we butt heads creatively all the time. But it always ends up, the result ends up being dope because we fucking clashed.
I definitely like the artwork. It's definitely unique in its own taste. What made you choose the 7 Deadly Sins as the subject of the album?
Again, that was his idea. I went right along with it. I felt like it was gonna make the album seem more like an entire like more of a conceptual album compared to our older shit, which is kind of just like fucking random shit. Like, you know, there was no like, what do you say, like consistency overall. Like this way we could use the character, the Astronomic Dr. Khronik, who makes you atone for your 7 deadly sins of self-destruction. And Yeah, I went along with it because I like to have a fucking topic for a song, you know. I don't like to just have a beat and have some motherfucker be like, yeah, just spit some dope shit on this. So, you know, because a lot of the shit out there, like, to me, it doesn't have a fucking topic or a story, you know. And, so, yeah, that's one thing we didn't butt heads on. I don't know if you got anything to add about that. I mean...
Yes, I do.
Or
yes.
LB, whatever.
So yeah, like what he was saying, we actually, before it became like the Smoker card, Joker card, Astronomic Dr. Khronik, back when it was still the, as he calls it, the whack mashup of the album cover ideas, the just plain black shit with the weed leaf on it. I had came up with the idea, let's make an album about the 7 deadly sins. That way each sin we can make a song about it. And he was like, yeah, that's good. Because we were having a kind of a meeting where we're trying to come up with ideas for songs. I was like, if we do the 7 deadly sins, we can have like a concept album and each song could be the 7 deadly sins. But when we came up with the Astronomic Dr. Khronik, it hit me. This is what this Joker card is about. All the Insane Clown Posse Joker cards, they have like some kind of moral message in it, something that, you know, juggalos can use to like improve their lives. You know what I mean? It's all based basically on religious principles. So I was like, that's what it is. That's the lore of this Joker card, the Astronomic Dr. Khronik. He's a strain of marijuana that's rare and indigenous to a part of the world that not a lot of people go to. And when you smoke it, what happens is you have like a DMT trip and you meet this entity that makes you atone for your 7 sins of self-destruction. The 7 deadly sins: gluttony, greed, sloth, envy, pride, lust, and wrath. So I was like, that'd be perfect for a Joker card. And so the actual Astronomic Dr. Khronik intro song, the verse, where ladies and gentlemen, step right up and smoke this rare sticky herb, all that whole verse I had wrote on social media to promote and let people know about the Astronomic Dr. Khronik. And then when it came time to record that, I actually just read it right off the fucking social media post, and it just happened to fit perfectly into 16 bars. So it was like God himself had fucking ordained that. Like,
alright, man, like...
I swear, man, that's how it was.
You don't gotta embellish it that fucking
I'm not embellishing jack shit, bro. I swear. Verbatim, right. I tried to change it. I tried to make it shorter and cut words out of it, and it wasn't long enough. So I just read it the way it was on the fucking social media post, and it fit perfectly, that 16-bar verse. I swear to God. I am not embellishing. I'm not making that up, bro. It is the honest to God truth.
Why out of all your... No, this is for Kru. Why out of all your serious media, in your various media, and promotional experiences, or period... Jeez. Edit.
Come on, out.
Why out of all of your media and promotional appearances and interviews and stuff like that, how come Drunk Zambini is rarely mentioned?
I'll be quite frank with you, because this is my project, and I've been doing this for 20-something years, and this guy has taken a 15, 16-year hiatus, and he's not really used to doing media, so what I did was I would use my connections in the Juggalo world and in media, because nobody knew who he was, so they didn't want to interview him. They just wanted to interview me, you know what I mean, at that time. So, and plus I had a beef with Violent J and a story about Violent J and stuff like that, so they wanted to hear that, you know what I mean. So that's really why. But it ain't nothing against him. He's my dude. He's the other half of Keepaz of the Krypt.
It's because he says I'm not media trained. He hated my fucking shit. He hated my fucking shit that you did with me. Like because he wasn't there.
You're talking about the episode It's Just Music? With you?
I believe so. I was like drunk as fuck on that too.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was really funny.
And I like, but yeah, like sometimes, like, yeah, he likes to. It is his project. I mean, he had the beats. There's like other shit that I have contributed that's almost equal to what he's doing too. So it is kind of weird. Like, I mean, I rarely get. we'll probably never know the true answer to that question. But I mean, I don't know.
I've kind of explained it to you before in our personal conversations, and I'm going to say it here.
Right.
You guys are both kind of equal with the whole project. It's his connections, it's your money.
Well, there's
and where it's not your money, it's his money, and where it's not his connection, it's your connection. So
yeah, it's kind of like an equal thing.
Right.
It is funny though, because I've seen a review where I'm called the unlisted feature, and then some guy at the end has to make it clear, like, well, it's a group. There's like another guy on it. I'm like, oh, really?
How much money is invested into this project?
Do we even really need to say that? Talk about it.
If you,
yes, I think it will
throwing money shit out.
I think it will help. I think it will help up and coming artists to know what it's like to create a true, real project with features.
But we're not going through,
like that.
We're not. I'm not gonna feature and how much they.
I'm not gonna tell
like
you. I'm not gonna tell you how much we paid these individuals, and a lot of the budget, half of that budget ain't even to the features. Like, it's other things that
involve, right? Artwork,
yes,
stuff like that. Yes.
We're talking like total budget.
Like, yeah, as far as money spent.
Yeah, money spent on everything.
And we're not counting our studio time's basically not paid because he's mixing all this shit.
Yeah, and
we're doing that ourselves.
If you take that, if you itemize the studio time, because I am an audio engineer and I am a producer. Like, if an artist were to hire somebody like me, not me personally, but anybody, any professional, if you took the features, the studio time, the mixing and mastering, the beats, the production, if you took all of it,
I would say 15 to 20 grand if you added all
20,000 easily is.
Yeah,
I mean, especially when you're dealing with a producer that's like a little bit established and has produced like a #1 chart-topping something on iTunes and stuff like that, and produced stuff for multi-platinum artists and collaborated with.
Then features, promotion. On top of that, we did the Christmas EP to help kind of like promote the shit.
And then I've paid people to, a lot of times people won't interview you unless you pay them. Or, there's a lot of pay-to-play bullshit.
The LB, to get him on feature, like, it's kind of dirty, but you gotta meet up with him in a shower.
This motherfucker's too.
You're funny.
I'm just fucking.
No, LB Sickning, like, if you want to get him on a track, he'll do it for you for $300 at bare minimum if you're his homie. But if you ain't his homie, like, it's gonna be what, $500-600?
Hit me up on my inbox. What was it like working with Light?
It was kind of like bullshit. Like, he's dope and everything, and like we hit up him and Straight Jacket pretty much at the same time because they're both on Monster and shit, and they both said, yeah, we'll do it. We had to bug both of them a little bit. Straight Jacket, he had some excuses and shit, but he was quicker to come back. So now Light was in the car like pretty much right after we had him on, put him on, and he was paid and everything. He knew what we sent him the fucking track, and then he got in that car accident. But we still had like a 2.5 months before it dropped.
Yeah.
And it was like the last shit that we were waiting for besides you spitting on the Joker track. But like, I mean, it's like you bug him, he'd be like ghosting, like he was the one contacting him and shit. And he had to be like, he was like, dude, like, I know you got in a car wreck and shit, but our album is dropping in like less than 2 weeks. Like, we need your shit. And he gave it back. He was already worried about my verse because he said that I spit whack on it because he thought Light was gonna destroy us. We get the shit back and we're just like is this really what the fuck? Like, it took you that long to come up with this shit? So I mean, it's kind of sounded like he threw it together. I mean, the more I listen to it, it's dope and it works. But I'm not throwing any numbers out. He is reasonable, but here, let you go. But
in a nutshell, like, what he's trying to say is, like, we had to wait way too long for this shit. You know what I mean? Like, and it was, when we got it back, the performance was very underwhelming for what we would normally expect from a artist.
Well, from Light.
Caliber of Light, you know what I mean? And, like, the way he phrased it, I said his verse was whack. No, I didn't say he was whack. I just said that you might want to consider, like, stepping up your game because Light fucking brings it. And boy, was I wrong. Like, because he actually made us look doper than we really are.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
But, hey, I do want to say thank you, Light. Thank you, Straight Jacket.
Yeah, nothing against nothing against anybody, man. I mean, we're just trying to spit some real shit on here. Light's dope. Fucking Monstar's dope. So, whatever.
Yeah, look, we're just not used to having to wait that long for people to give us back.
Yeah, Light's definitely an artist I want to work with in the future. So, on to the next song. The song Greed, I kind of liked it. It was dope. All the way up to the Blaze Dead Homie feature, because when he started talking about Starbucks and stuff, I kind of lost my train of thought. And I feel like a lot of other people kind of felt that way too. Do you think you got your money's worth now that you've heard the reviews of the song and the criticism?
Well, I think people are just kind of like nitpicking shit and they don't really understand what Blaze Your Dead Homies are really talking about. Like, yeah, he's saying Starbucks, but he's not actually talking about Starbucks the coffee. He's saying Starbucks as in money, like superstar money. You want to make that superstar money, pay for the carnal one, the sin behind us, greed. That's what he's saying. He's not talking about fucking coffee. He's not in the grocery store like, oh, fucking almond breeze. But there is something about almond breeze that Drunk Zambini's got a theory about.
I know, my fucking got a tickle on my throat.
I know something that can tickle your throat.
But fucking, I thought it was dope. Like, honestly, like, Blaze always sounds dope because he got a good voice and shit, but I had to sit there and like try to write down. I'm like, what is this motherfucker even trying to say? And I tried to break it down. There's still some shit I'm not even 100% sure what he say, but like it almost sounds like I'm not saying he is or he isn't, but to me it sounds like a diss towards Violent J in a way, because I know that Almond Breeze shit is in that Chris Hansen shit, the one where that joke where he goes into Violent J's house and shit, like he opens up an Almond Breeze out of the fridge and drinks it. Brazen little sleeves. I think he's talking about like his tattoos and shit, like how they're whack and shit. And yeah, and the Starbucks thing is exactly what he's saying. I mean, it's not like what people are thinking. I mean, I see where they're getting it from, but I mean, yeah, he's talking about like star power and money, like the real money and shit.
Yeah.
Like if you want that, you gotta
That Michael Jackson
do
money.
this shit, yeah. But yeah, I mean, people are gonna like it or hate it. I mean, there's songs people say is dope. I hear it. I don't think it's. I mean, it's all who you are and like what you like and don't like. So, I mean, we've gotten good feedback and bad feedback about it, but I don't have nothing else to say about that shit.
You'll have good and bad. Not everybody's gonna like it, man.
Right. I mean, it don't matter what you do. I mean, you could be like Jesus Christ come back to earth and make like the miracle perfect song, and like you still have a motherfucker saying it ain't dope. You know what I mean?
Facts.
They'll be like, Jesus, you're whack.
I've heard a lot of juggalos disrespecting and making fun of the album. But when it comes to people outside of the community, like I've sent this song into a lot of music review shows, and
Thank you, by the way.
yeah, you're welcome. And a perfect example of it is when I send it into That Dorky Review Show or Eddie Cuts with G-Zoo Music Radio. Like the Dorky started comparing it to a song with Eminem, So
Which song are we talking about?
Hater Killer.
Now we're on hater killer.
Yeah.
All right.
No, he's just mentioning like
He's just mentioning that.
how Juggalos been a lot of Juggalos hating on it, but people outside the bubble and the pigeonhole of the Juggalo world think it's dope.
Right.
So after the praise and reviews from the people outside of the Juggalo world, because it seems like, you know, the Juggalos are hating on it, but anybody else that don't know anything about this story or anything about the situation, they like the CD, they like the album. What do you think? What are your thoughts on that? You know?
Yeah, like I was saying, people are gonna like it or not. This ain't a diss to Juggalos. I honestly think some of the internet community, like, honestly, hasn't even listened to the shit, and they know it's coming from his project, and they know all this. There's all this other shit going on. So I mean, they're just gonna trash it no matter what. And I think there's people that are just
picking sides with
they're picking sides. There's and this is just like a minority, you know. This is, I mean, there's people that literally just all they do is go online and talk shit about shit, you know.
Yeah, trolls.
So I'll read some shit, but I'm not gonna like sit there and start crying about it, because I mean we were expecting people to talk shit anyway. But yeah, and the outside people, I mean, to me it's almost like maybe like we got more appeal than, you know. It's like the Juggalos aren't the only people out there. I mean, we're trying to like make shit for everyone to like. Juggalos and everybody. And like, it's kind of cool for like people that aren't Juggalos, you know, they just are trying to find dope music to listen to. They might think ICP's dope. They might think Twisted is whack. They might think fucking all these other Rick Ross is dope. And then they hear our shit, think it's dope. You know what I mean? So, I mean, to me, it feels good that
the album has the feel of ICP's music. It has the feel of Juggalo music.
Right.
But it doesn't really have the clowny carnival.
Yeah, there's some carnival elements in the beat, but like as far as the lyrics, it's not like too fucking goofy. Like the, you know.
Somebody in Punching Down Daily the other night wanted me to ask, are you going to get any new beat snares?
Okay, I'm going to say this. I have said that to him from the beginning, but it's hard to convince him because he thinks if he touches something, it's like the dopest shit ever. And I fucking told him, even when he had like that YouTube thing with scrap beats for Yum Yum, I listened to all of them. I'm like, dude, like you're like literally using the same hi-hat and snare on every fucking thing. But okay, here
you gotta wait your turns, dude.
Yeah, see, this is another reason like he don't like me on shit, because like he's got another person talking about him, and he likes. You know, okay, I'm not gonna go.
That's why I'm glad that you guys agreed to do this, so that you have a chance to actually say something for once. You know
yeah, but I mean,
real talk. Don't look at me like that.
But his argument.
Yeah, that's what I want to tell.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, it was gonna be easier to mix because it's hard to mix and master a whole. Like it's easy to mix one song, but when you got 17 tracks and you're trying to make it sound consistent through the whole fucking thing. By having like the same instrument, such as the snare, the boring ass shit, like he can have it at the same level and it's gonna sound consistent throughout the whole thing. He'll elaborate more on what I'm saying. So.
Yeah, what he's saying is not only correct, but another thing, the main thing I want to say about my choice of the beat,
the snares.
The snares, the kick, it's all the same in just about every track, because those are the modern industry standard drums that the mainstream trap producers use in like every fucking top fucking 40 rap hit in the world today. I mean, you're hating on that, you're hating on like the top of the cream of the crop shit, because that's what I use. I use the same fucking snare that's on fucking MGK's shit, that's on fucking, you name them shit, Eminem shit, everywhere. I use the same kick, I use the same hi-hat, I use the same bass, I use the same filter on the bass to make it fucking hit harder. I use all the top producer shit on these beats because that's the state of the art. That's why I use that. And yeah, sure, I could switch it up. I could have a clap or some shit, but to me, when I'm making a beat, what's pleasing to the ear is that new state-of-the-art shit. And there's some state-of-the-art shit that I don't like using. So I use what I like, what I think is pleasing to the ear to me. I utilize that in my beats. And like he was saying, I've got presets, like on my equalizer, my EQs, my compressors and stuff. I've got presets, plugs already preset to those specific instruments, so I can just drag and drop them in, and it's going to sound consistent throughout the whole album. That's why the album sounds as good as it does, as far as the mixing and stuff goes.
What was it like working with Twisted? Do you think you got your money's worth, considering Madrox kind of repeated a line like 4 times at the end? That's some criticism I've heard from a lot of people online.
Yeah, Jamie did kind of get lazy with that shit. But I think we got our money's worth. Actually working with them, they were probably they were the most professional. Actually, everybody from MNE was professional as fuck about it. Twisted didn't try to dodge shit like some of the other, Boondocks wanted to be on a different song, and he was the only one that was trying to skip around and shit. But I think
it still came out dope. It still sounded dope.
Oh, Hater Killer is probably to me one of the it is I don't think it's the dopest one, but it's in the top 3 dope songs on the shit.
Well, thank you.
Not to ride your nuts or anything, but
I'll ride them motherfuckers. Hold on tight.
But yeah, Twisted was, I was happy with what they did. I liked the way they stayed on the top of what we were doing. They made it, they actually listened to what we spit, and fucking they spit about the I gotta shit and stuff. So right. I was happy with it. I don't know, do you got anything? There's really not anything you have to say about it.
Honestly, the tempo of that beat was so slow. Our deal was for them to spit 8 bars each. And the tempo of that beat was so slow that actually it folded into 32 bars. So it was like they were splitting 16 bars each. So that's why Monoxide stretched 8 bars across that. It was legit 8-bar measurements, but because it was so slow, you could spit 32 bars if you spit a double time rap on that person.
Right, he was kind of matching my flow a little bit, and then Jamie is trying to match yours.
Yeah, you can look at it like that, but really what it is, the deal we made with Twisted was for 8 bars each, and really honestly, we got 32 bars,
So they looked out.
Yeah, they actually were hooking us up.
Why'd you write Sloth? What was your inspiration for the subject matter of the song?
Well, Sloth is one of the sins for one, so we had to have it in there. But I started writing the shit, and I spit the shit before he spit his shit, and he thought it was dope. But we're basically talking about people that just are kind of wasting away. They don't try to go outside of their comfort zone. People that sit on their ass, they don't even ever try to do anything. They just do the program shit, I talk about binge watching TV. Motherfuckers just spend their whole lives getting high, binge watching TV shows and nutting in their fat wives and shit. And then I wrote the hook. And the second verse, because we split the verses, because I just talk about haters and shit. He found an old verse that I hadn't used, and it's he was obsessed with the shit. So I was well, I'll just throw that shit on there. That way You know, I don't have to fucking write more shit about sloth motherfuckers and shit. So, I mean, that's basically what it was, right?
Yeah, basically, like our inspiration might be a little different between the two of us, because my inspiration was personally rooted in a family member who I love dearly. I'm just gonna say it. Sorry, Nick. My brother Nick, he is like a guitar god. He could have been a fucking rock star. Like, he has more talent as a guitar player than I have at anything I do. And the thing is about him is he's one of these sloth motherfuckers that just sits around, doesn't apply himself, so never gonna do anything with his life. He's the kind of motherfucker that talk until he's fucking blue in the face, but he ain't never gonna do nothing. And I'm the kind of motherfucker that I do shit. If I say I'm gonna do it, I do it, no matter what.
Word.
And so that was my inspiration, is basically to help my brother, inspire him to not be a fucking sloth, because that is one of the 7 deadly sins. You know what I'm saying? So I've seen my brother sit around and waste himself away, drinking and smoking and doing dope and just sitting on his ass and becoming a fucking shell of his former self.
A sloth.
A sloth. And so we made this song for different reasons, but it's basically the same thing. Like, we're just riffing on reality. You know what I mean?
So there was a 16-year gap between the new album, that Astronomic Dr. Khronik, and your last album. I think it's Haunted by God. Why now, after all these years, did you reform the group Keepaz Of The Krypt and make this album?
Basically, he came back from Guam. He fucking hit me up, so I hung out with him. I heard about the beats he was doing. Like, I didn't even know about him making a beat for fucking whatever, Yum Yum. I mean, like, yeah, I didn't even know that shit, because I was busy with my own shit. And I kind of had, like, breakaway. We were trying to make one before Astronomic Dr. Khronik, but I had to stop because I just couldn't do it. And, but I was going through, like, I was separated, and then, you know, we're divorced now, but, like, she fucking moved out. So I told him, like, if you still want to do this album, you know, like, fucking, and you got all these beats, like, once she moves out, we could start doing this shit. So that was the beginning before, I mean, and we started out just having meetings about what we were gonna do and shit. That was like the lighting of the candle of why we came back together, is what it is.
Yeah, so, basically exactly how he said it. I was overseas for many years with my pro wrestling career. I made quite a big splash in Japan and in other countries with my pro wrestling career, and then I had gotten injured and moved to Guam for a few years, and I was making beats and making a solo album there. And then I made a bunch of beats for Insane Clown Posse during the pandemic. I had gotten a deal with Psychopathic Records to produce custom beats for Insane Clown Posse, and at the time we were producing for Yum Yum Bedlam. And I had made like 40 or 50 custom beats for ICP, and they only ever used 3 of my beats, and the deal was the first 4 would be free, but then after that they would give me $500 a beat. So I made like I said, 40 or 50 beats, and then Violet J said to come back to America because they could use somebody like me who's multi-talented. So I finally did, and then that's when we had like a butting of the heads, because Violet J, a year after he gave me the deal, was basically like reneging on the whole deal, and he, at that point, he had owed me like 20 grand for all the custom beats that I had made for him, and he never gave me proper credit for any of the ones that he did use. So at that point I was like, well, what do I do with a bunch of custom made ICP beats that no other fucking artist is probably ever gonna want to use, because it's tailored specifically to their sound, and it sounds like clowny, carnival, circusy sounding shit. So me and him were already talking about making an album together at some point, and I had all these beats, and I'm like, well, I could make a solo album with this shit, but I'd rather just like make another Keepaz Of The Krypt album with him. I think that would be cool to do a group project. At one point, I had talked to you about possibly doing a project called Inner City Psychos, because I was plotting on the revenge tip on Violent J, and as you know how that turned out, there's 3 angles of revenge that I have. One of them is this album, the Astronomic Dr. Khronik. One of them is the movie soundtrack deal I did with the movie Off Ramp, and the third one is the documentary wrestling project where I beat Corb Robson for the lineal world title, which is the original lineage of not only the JCW World Title, but the WWC Universal Championship and the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. So it's like the real world title in wrestling. So those are the 3 angles. But originally, it was like the planets couldn't align, and as soon as I moved back here, like everything just started falling into place. I had that falling out with Violent J. He divorced his wife. My fucking laptop just took a dump on me when I first moved here. So we didn't like rush into making anything. We couldn't even make nothing together for like 5 or 6 months. And then as soon as his divorce shit was over with and his wife had moved out of his house, for some reason, like, I started being able to work on the music again. It was like the planets had aligned at just the right time for us to start working on a new album. And that's how it came to be. And we're like, you know what? I've have enough experience at this music shit that I can bring us up to another level musically than anything we've ever done in the past. And I think we've done just that with this album.
I like how you guys were being positive and inspiring on the song Dope It Up. I've always kind of looked up to Anybody Killa as a musical artist, so I bet that was pretty cool. But who the hell is Suburban Corpse?
Well, first I'll say Dope It Up is kind of paired with Sloth. It's almost like the antidote of Sloth, okay? Because we're trying to tell you if your shit sucks, you gotta dope it up. But Suburban Corpse, it's actually his friend, like one of his really good friends. But he had originally they were trying to start some shit called Crypt Keepers. But then through like a friend of mine, I had some whack shit I was putting out. Like I had this sampler and shit. I think that, yeah. He heard it and then, like whatever, me and him got introduced. We were originally going to have like a 3-piece group, like with Suburban Corpse in it. But as we were trying to make tracks, like about the 2nd or 3rd track in, Suburban Corpse kind of just, I don't think he felt like he could do it. Like he didn't think he was on the level of Kru and me and shit. So he kind of just like went away. And then we didn't want to keep it as Crypt Keepers because he wasn't there, right? Because Suburban Corpse is the one that came up with Crypt Keepers. So we changed it to Keepaz Of The Krypt, and that's like the duo with One Man. Actually, back then he went by the name Crucifer, but he rebranded himself as One Man Kru like over time.
It's kind of respectful of that guy to walk away if he didn't feel he was up to par with you.
Well, and we brought him back because we were doing homie hookup shit, and I was like, I think it'd be dope to throw back to anybody that even knew about that shit, to bring him back on a track of the feature with ABK, to show him respect, because he has never fucking doubted anything that he has done or I do or what we do together. He's always been there. So, alright, you take it.
Yeah, basically everything he said. Dustin, his name's Dustin, I'm not gonna say his last name, was he's a really private person. And I've known Dustin since 7th grade. He had started a group called Suburban Corpse. It was he called himself Cadillac Zombie at the time, and then he was with a guy named Body Bags, and I believe there was a 3rd guy in the group. Well, Body Bags, he ended up going to prison for robbing somebody or something, and like the other guy just was kind of whack. So Dustin called himself Suburban Corpse, or Sub K for short. He just called himself Suburban Corpse. From that point, he just stopped calling himself Cadillac Zombie, and he just used the name Suburban Corpse to promote himself. And then when I moved up to Ohio from Alabama in 2003, he had already started recording some stuff on his computer, and I'd recorded a demo tape down in Alabama in 2002, I think, 2002, 2003, and we just kind of like rekindled our friendship. I mean, we never were not friends. I just lived in Alabama and he lived in Ohio, and I would come up and visit for Christmas and we'd hang out. But anyway, we created this group called the Crypt Keepaz, and we put out an EP. First we just made some singles, and then we made a whole EP called Straight from the Crypt. And the EP wasn't very good. So that's why it's not out and nobody is listening to it now in the public, because we purposely buried that shit, you know. But Sub K is the guy who helped me get my start in making music, and then this guy came along and he helped me learn how to make beats. And then I had this bright idea, hey, let's have him be in the group Keepaz, the Crypt Keepaz. But then Sub K heard the shit me and him were making together, and he just kind of like doubted himself, and he was like, hey, look, I don't want to piss in the cornflakes, so to speak. Like, I don't want to muddy up this shit. I don't think I'm on your guys' level, so I'm just gonna take a step back and do the behind the scenes shit. I'm still gonna support you guys. I'm still gonna be part of this thing, but I'm just gonna take a behind the scenes approach with it. So out of respect for him, we weren't gonna call ourselves the Crypt Keepaz anymore, so we just changed the name around to Keepaz of the Krypt out of respect for him. But he is a founding member of Keepaz of the Krypt, and he is the unofficial third member of Keepaz of the Krypt, 100%.
I would say he definitely kept up with you guys on the song. So let's go on to Lust, featuring the ROC, legendary artist. I like the verses you guys did, but I don't really like the hook. What do you guys think you could have done differently with that after all the criticism that's come from it?
That hook, I totally ripped that flow from an ICP song, and I just reworded the shit with like raunchy, dirty shit. And like my idea for this song was just like make something kind of like the dating game, the Nedding game ICP song. I want to make a funny song out of the lust subject, because it's one of the 7 deadly sins. And so I just basically spit that the way I thought maybe ICP would have back in the day. A lot of people were criticizing it. All good. I mean, some people think it's dope and they actually like it, but then some people, they're driving down the street and they're like rolling their windows and shit because they don't want nobody hearing what they're playing. But as far as like what I could have done differently, me personally, I don't think I could have done anything else differently. I think it sounds dope the way it is. I actually love the way it is. It makes me laugh when I listen to it. I fucking love it. So that's just me. But if he has a different opinion about it, he's more than happy to express it.
Yeah, I'll just say,
He'll say,
I actually wrote, I got it, man. It's because I'm in a house where you smoke and like I don't smoke inside my house and shit.
what are you telling people my business, man? What the hell's going on?
I might smoke here, but no, I actually had another hook written for it, and he actually thought it was kind of dope, but he had, he wrote the other hook, and that's what we used, and like, it's not my favorite song either. I mean, my verse, I basically just I rip Violent J shit, but like twist it around to make it about lust. I mean, you can listen, people can listen to it, figure out what I'm saying. But
you guys are dissing my music hero, right?
No, that's not even dissing the motherfucker. That's the shit I ripped him on was the shit I thought was the dopest shit Violent J ever did. So like. And as like a parody as the Joker card, I'm like, well, this would be dope if I took his shit and fucking like just formatted it to fit like the topic of the song we're doing. And for me, it was fun to do that. Like he didn't necessarily want me to do it. Like he says I'm not a true MC or something, and I'm not media trained. I'm not a true MC because you can't take you're not allowed to take lyrics you shelved like 5 years ago, and then finally say, oh, here's a song I can use it on. He says that that's not, that you're not a true MC. But, I mean, whatever. We move on to the next shit. Yeah, just go.
Looking at the numbers, and it seems to be that Envy is one of the most slept on tracks. It's got the least amount of plays.
Yeah.
But that song is kind of one of my favorites. Why do you think that the song isn't really getting the traction compared to the other tracks?
Speak on that. Honestly, man, like, all the songs with the features, people are just clicking on it because it has the feature on it, and they're just listening.
Right.
I'm not saying everybody's doing this, but most people, statistically speaking, like when I'm looking at the numbers, looking at the data, they're just clicking on the songs with the features on it, and they're just like, hey, fuck this song that don't have a feature on it. And so a lot of haters will get on there and they'll just listen to the songs with the features just because the features are on it, and then they'll like pass judgment on the whole fucking album based on a couple songs they heard. And that's whack as fuck, because when we made this album, it's a collection of songs that put together is one piece of art. The album itself, from beginning to end, is the artwork. It's a masterpiece. And you will not be able to fully appreciate it or understand that until you sit and listen to it from beginning to end, uninterrupted. Like, only then will you be able to pass judgment on it and actually have any kind of credible opinion about it. Because if you're just gonna listen to a couple tracks, you don't watch a movie like 20 minutes into the movie and just watch 2 minutes of it and be like, that was whack.
Yeah, the whole movie was whack based off of that.
Yeah,
like, they don't even give it a chance. But,
yeah, so like, that's what basically I have to say about that is, like, if you're watching this and you're just listening to a couple tracks and passing judgment on it, you're not giving it a fair chance. You're not giving it a fair listen.
Well, it's not a full evaluation of the entire album. Like, you can't say the whole album is trash when you listen to only 1 or 2 songs.
Yeah. Or 3 or 4. You gotta listen to the whole album from beginning to end to know. And then that, like, statistically speaking, when you look at the on YouTube, just only on YouTube, we've had like around 10,000 streams total on all the across all the songs. And when you look at the least played song, it had only like a couple hundred plays on it, right? That's how many people at the most have heard the entire album.
Right.
And since the album dropped, my subscriber count has went up about 100 subscribers. So you take the least amount of played song versus how many subscribers I have, and I can tell you at least half of the people who have listened to that album, hey, it might be all the people who have actually taken the time to listen to the whole album from beginning to end. But those 100 people who subscribed, they listened to that album from beginning to end, and they thought it was a fucking masterpiece, and they thought it was so dope that they subscribed to my fucking YouTube channel.
Thanks.
So.
Pride goes with the subject of the 7 deadly sins, and I noticed that the songs about the sins don't have any features. Is that by design? And if so, why'd you do that?
There's some design behind it. I mean, actually on Pride, like, we were talking about getting like Axe Murder Boys on it.
That would have been fresh.
Because we split the verses on it. We were going to have them split a verse. But that just didn't happen. But some of the songs, we could have added features later, but I'd say about half of the Sin songs was one of the first tracks that we actually recorded, and that was even before we were talking about features. And like, we just decided, like, you know, we can't just litter the whole thing with features, so we gotta have our own shit too. And yeah, it was just kind of like whatever. I mean, we picked and choose what we were gonna do, but there's kind of a design, but not really.
Like,
you know,
2 of the songs that don't have features on it, which are Gluttony and Envy, those songs we licensed to a movie soundtrack. Like the Off-Ramp Juggalo Road movie. So we had already recorded those songs before, like he said, we got any features on it. But we still could have extended it out and put a feature on it. But we chose to keep those songs just us because we didn't want to have to split any residuals from the movie soundtrack deal. We just wanted to keep, because, dude, that was my deal. I produced those tracks. The whole movie thing was my thing, and I didn't want to include anybody else other than me and him in that deal who didn't deserve it. So we just kept purposely 2 of those songs, we kept features off of it, and then we decided just to, like he was saying, we didn't want to make the whole album just a features album. We wanted to have some songs that don't have no features on it so that we could perform it live and not have to worry about editing anything and stuff like that. So
I want to thank you guys personally for putting me on the song Hater Killer with Boondocks. I kind of looked up to the guy growing up, you know what I'm saying? And it's pretty dope to be on a track with him. That's the best song on the fucking album.
Well, you're welcome, man. Thanks for doing it.
What made you write Bow Down? The Joker is one of the most hated people in the Juggalo community, and he was a great choice for a diss track to Violent J. No matter how I feel about the man or not, what made you decide to diss Violent J?
No, that's for you. Like, yeah, because I actually had suggested every time when he wanted to do it, I was like, man, like, I already told Joker, like, I didn't want him to diss shit. Like, it was originally going to be a song just about how dope we are and shit, make people bow down. And, you know, you've heard it. He didn't even want fucking Joker. He was so against it. But I was like, look, man, like I'm the wallet here. Like, I'm gonna have my own say, like, because I think Joker's dope. You know, I'm not like the hardcore juggalo that takes. You know what I'm saying? I don't take all this. I don't get into the juggalo drama. Like, I think Twist is dope. I think fucking ICP's dope. I like Shaggy's doper. Like, I think Violent J has kind of fallen off musically and shit. And I like Joker. I think, dude, he spits dope. But as far as the dissing Violent J, I mean, this is his shit right here. You go with that.
Yeah, like, okay, so me personally, I dissed Violent J because I don't like Violent J. And he has been nothing but a disrespectful punk to me, like, ever since I moved back to the United States. And so I've decided to utilize this platform, and the fact that I have an artist on this song that has dissed Violent J before, and that if I could retroactively make this song a diss song towards Violent J based on what they've already spit on it. Because if you listen to the song, now that I've spit my verse against Violent J on it, it sounds like all 3 of us are fucking dissing Violent J on it. But they weren't even dissing Violent J. But it sounds like they are because of the shit that I say on it. But the truth of the matter is, man, is I just quite simply I had to get a lot off of my chest, man. And I know a lot of juggalos don't like that, and people have said, please don't diss and all this and that. Look, man, like, at the end of the day, this is hip-hop. And hip-hop is about dissing and beefs and all that. That's what makes it.
Yeah, that's not necessarily true, but, you know.
No, it is.
I mean, that's not what hip-hop is about.
No, that's what it's about, man. That's what the game's about.
Some of it.
Like, fuck you. You ain't doper than me, motherfucker. I can do the same thing you could do, and if you got beef, motherfucker, we can handle it. And that's how I'm handling it. I'm handling it on a diss to the motherfucker who dissed me. Like, this guy had, in the business world of music, had dissed me so hard. Like, imagine you have worked your entire adult life towards getting a job somewhere, and then the boss of that company gives you a deal and basically finesse you to work for an entire year for free based on a bunch of bullshit opportunities and phony promises, and then never delivers on any of it. And then when you come to collect on some shit, you basically just get fired for standing up for yourself, and then you're robbed of the opportunities that you were given by the same person, and you had already put in the work. Like, you had already worked your ass off and poured your heart and soul into your work. So this motherfucker has dissed me on a level that is unforgivable in this rap game. So I use my talent to show, you know what, Violent J, fuck you, you ain't no doper than me. Like, and I've proved that this motherfucker, there's no way he can come with a diss doper than what I did.
I hope he responds, to be honest. You know, it'd be kind of cool.
That would be funny as fuck.
Why is Wrath the last sin on the album?
Like, I actually made the track listing, and I'm surprised he actually went with it. He actually tried to fucking switch shit around, because he has in his own mind how everything has to be, right? Like, because it's kind of like all about him and his mind and shit. But like, I was like, man, like, this is my proposed track list, and I took he wanted Gluttony first, and of course the intros is first, and then whatever we went through, and like the way I structured the track listing is it kind of like starts out kind of like whatever, the tongue-in-cheek, I don't know what the fuck to say, you know, like we're slowly going from like a certain way, and then like it slowly gets like, because we still had to have wicked shit, like a lot of the darker shit we did later, because he's like, man, these like people are gonna be like, man, there ain't no real wicked shit on, and I'm like, well, yeah, like we need to start making some shit that's actually, you know, outside of your brain. And like, so Wrath, I mean, it's placed there because it's one of the more darker shit, and then it leads up. Yeah, and we paired Natural Born Killers after that. Like, I mean, if you listen to the whole album, it just like slowly turns like it more like wicked as it goes on, until we ended on a lighter note. But we ain't there. I mean, you got anything? That is like why it was fucking put there.
Yeah, basically, yeah, because we paired up the other sins, and then that one didn't really have nothing to pair it with. But the thing is, I want to add on to what he was saying is, if you listen to the whole album, if you know anything about our old albums, if you've ever listened to any of our old shit, the first half of the album sounds like ICP shit. It sounds like a fucking ICP. And I want to clarify something. Everybody's like, this is an ICP rip-off, blah, blah, blah. No, this is an ICP spin-off / parody, because these beats were made for ICP. It was ICP's shit until I took it back from them, basically. But the second half of the album sounds like our old shit, like the Keepaz Of The Krypt. It sounds like it was a Crypt album toward the end, like at the second half of it. So the Wrath song just kind of like fit more towards what was going on at the end of the album anyway, because we had like more of the wicked sounding shit toward the end, like he was saying.
Natural Born Killers is a remake of a song originally created by Dr. Dre and Ice Cube. But this one, it features G-Moski and Dark Hills Gang. Who the hell is Dark Hills Gang? And why did you remake the song and put them on it?
Dark Hills Gang, it's like I was saying earlier, like with Suburban Corpse, we put you on. Like, you guys, we had so many people that wanted to be on this shit. There's like motherfuckers we know that are like kind of pissed or jealous because they're not on it. But like the homie hookup shit was like the people that have been down since day one about they never doubted what we were doing. They didn't fucking talk shit. So we felt like to pay them back for their support over all these years, like, you know, it'd be dope to have them on a track, and on top of that have them on with the feature. So yeah, Dark Hills Gang, they're a duo. You got Crazy the Cobra and David DeBrain, which David DeBrain is who spits the second. Crazy the Cobra is right before he spits before G-Mo. And they're from Memphis, Tennessee. They're dope. I'm not sure like how much they are doing right now, but they have tons of material if you want to look them up. And they got merch too, and fucking because I know David DeBrain like almost like bounced out of the project because he's got some shit going on, but he ended up pulling it off for us, and we're happy as fuck that they're on the shit. And Gmo, that's another one where he didn't fucking want Gmo because he has a list in his mind of who he thinks is supposed to be on shit, because when you work with him creatively in a creative setting, it's difficult because he likes to be in control of the situation and shit, and doesn't like anybody putting in. You got to convince him that it's his own idea. But in the end, he thought Gmo was dope, and I'm like, well, yeah, Gmo is fucking dope.
I said in Greed, I'm worse than Vince McMahon. Like, I've never lost a case. Like Vince McMahon's one of them motherfuckers. You gotta convince him that it's his idea too. But yeah, he ain't lying about that. But Dark Hills Gang, like, Juggalos might remember the name from the Underground Psychos contest back in 2005. They had made it to like the top 20, and they were picked to perform in Detroit. And they ended up dropping out of the contest for some kind of personal reason. But we kind of teamed up with them back then in 2005 and started collaborating together. And they helped us out. They did graphics for us. They did music videos for us. They did all kind of dope shit for us. So, like, just like with you and with Suburban Corpse, we decided to show them love by putting them on a feature song on the album.
I really like the hook on the song Sick in the Head, featuring Straight Jacket. On the song, you talked about sneaking into the gathering of the Juggalos and shooting Violent J with a 45.
Dude, I got one thing to say about that, and one thing only. And you should know, LB, Sickning, Sicko ENT, more than anybody, it's just music. To be honest with you, man, I've been holding a lot of rage in for a long time over it, and I tried to fix things with the guy, and it just didn't work out, and I just knew it was never going to happen. So I was like, you know what, man, I'm going to use this album to prove this guy wrong about me. Whatever he thought about me, like if he thought I was a jabroni, if he thought I was like just somebody trying to ride his coattails or ride his nuts or whatever, I'm gonna show him that I can do his shit better than he can fucking do it. So I took the opportunity to diss the guy, and I had one of his former producers, Straight Jacket, on the track. But Straight Jacket didn't diss, and Drunk Zambini didn't diss, but I dissed. But what I said in that song is strictly 100% fantasy and entertainment, and is, you know, yeah, sure, I've thought about fucking killing this motherfucker, I've thought about beating his ass, I've thought about doing a lot there. Thought about fucking shoving a fucking broken beer bottle up his fucking asshole.
Have you been hit with a cease and desist by Psychopathic Records? Are you saying this on your own, or are you saying this because of a cease and desist?
No, I'm saying this on my own. Anybody who knows me knows that lawyers aren't gonna scare me. Like, I'm not gonna shut up just because somebody threatens me with a fucking lawyer. And a fucking smoking pistol ain't gonna scare me either. Like, I've had motherfuckers try to rob me, and I fucking talked them down from robbing me. Like, guns don't scare me. I'm not afraid to die, and I don't give a fuck about anybody's threats or anything like that. But I'm not personally, I'm not threatening anybody. I'm just letting you know, motherfucker, that like I got a problem with you, and I've been vindicated 100% for the reasons why I feel the way I do. And there's some other shit going on that's like has nothing to do with me, and we're talking about cease and desist. That shit about the allegations against Joe, I've riffed on it. I've shared things that people have said to me, and it's very damning, the things that I've seen. But to be honest with you, man, like, I don't want to be used and played like some kind of patsy or some kind of puppet for somebody else's agenda against Joe, because the things that I have against Joe are just from my own personal experience with the guy.
You want me to throw some shit? Yeah, I want to add, Straight Jacket is on the track. He was asked, or he was told beforehand by One Man Kru that One Man Kru is like, look, I want to diss Violent J on this shit. Because we was trying to make it, if Straight Jacket didn't want to do that or be on the track, you know, we would have changed our shit. The thing is, Straight Jacket, he basically said, look, I don't care, but I'm not gonna diss Violent J because I don't want to be a part of it, and I don't care what you spit on your verse. And my verse is straight up just about mental illness and how fucked up the whole shit is. And I mean, you guys can listen to the fucking song, but like what he said, like, there's no cease and desist on this shit. But we have never heard anything from Psychopathic or Violent J lawyers and shit, but like fucking this is all, it's all entertainment, man. Like
It's hip hop.
yeah, it's like what he say is like pretty hardcore and shit, One Man Kru, but it's just like he's just venting his shit out. Has nothing to do with the allegations. This is his personal business fucking beef with
He did call him a chomo in his lyrics.
He did say that, but there's, you know, you got rappers dissing rappers, calling them a faggot, and you know damn well the other rapper's not a faggot. But this is not his fucking... the allegation shit is not like what he is trying to do. His beef with Violent J is straight up the business beat shit. Has nothing to do with the chomo shit. And
you know how to edit this right, man. You know.
Well, I don't need to edit it because he pretty much said straight up. Like,
but that's it's kind of like, yeah, that's how that is.
Yeah,
So,
you're being honest. You're being honest, and I appreciate the honesty in the interview. We sat for, I'd say, 45 minutes coming up with questions to this, not only for ourselves, but for, you know, we sat and we've seen a lot of comments throughout the community of the juggalos and juggalos alike, and people that are not even juggalos at all.
Right.
We've spoke on a lot of things today, and with that said, I'm going to ask one more question, and then we're going to let you read your letter. You ready? So,
right, let's do the last question.
Going to the Gathering was the very last song, and it had a hero of mine. I got Dark Lotus tattooed on my wrist. It had Mars on it, man. It was probably my favorite song on the album, and I'll tell you why. The whole situation is inspiring. Instead of you actually going, like you said in the song, going and to the Gathering and trying to shoot him on Violent J, or going with AK and doing some pussy ass shit and you know, a mass murder type shit, you took your anger and you took your frustrations and you took your money and you took your time and it took everything, and you made a really fucking cool album. You got your homies on it, you got some music heroes of thousands of other people, and you did some dope shit to it. And then at the end of the album, it has Mars, which also has kind of been shunned by a lot of juggalos. He was part of Dark Lotus.
Right.
And he talks about how he wishes things were back in the day in his verse. He talks about, you know, it's all a dream. Life is just a dream, man. Like, at the end of the day,
that's right.
It is what it is, you know?
And after he says what
Right,
he says,
like, okay, so is there a question to this?
My question is, was that your attempt to say that this is, you know, it's just an album, it's just music?
Okay, like I'm gonna go with this. yeah, I said earlier we were like slowly progressing this shit in the track listing. If you listen to the whole album, and we going from like kind of lighthearted shit, and it keeps getting darker and darker. So the second to last song, he talks about, shooting him at the gathering, or Violent J at the gathering. But we wanted to end this shit on like a lighter note. Like we were progressing like to the point where it's like, alright, we're down to, we're sick in the head and shit. And then,
the ending,
we wanted to end it on a good note, and like, we think the Juggalos and the Gathering and shit is dope, you know?
The ending to me seems like...
and it confuses a lot of people.
No, it doesn't confuse me at all. It seems like, to me, that's One Man Kru's way of letting it go. Of letting the anger go.
I
it's
would
like,
say that, to me, especially in his verse.
To me, it's like Kru saying, you know, I made this album, I did everything you told me I couldn't fucking do, so now I'm letting it go.
Yeah, but now we're making the song The Gathering, which is an icy psychopathic... No, just let me, calm down, motherfucker. Because, he's gotta, like, do his shit. No, we're trying to do a lighthearted song at the end to, like, bring everybody back together. It's like, this isn't about fucking beef and shit. Like, The Gathering and the Juggalo shit is dope and shit. We had Mars on there, and he thought it was a dope idea. And he did the dream verse about meeting up back with these motherfuckers, Shaggy and Violent J, and then doing the Lotus shit again. It was dope. And, cause we didn't want to end it on like a bad note. And, yeah, alright.
But pass it to Kru, motherfucker.
Pass it to this motherfucker.
The truth is, man, is like, I got into music and professional wrestling and arts and entertainment to inspire people and entertain people and bring people together and share positive energy with each other. And the things that have been going on lately, I've attracted a lot of attention to myself, but it's been real negative. But at the same time,
right.
I think it was meant to be that way, so that there will be eyes and ears on me and what I'm doing. Because the whole purpose of everything is just for people to just enjoy life and enjoy the beauty in the arts and entertainment.
If they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't.
And also
right.
to inspire people to chase their dreams and do what makes them happy. Because if you really know my story, if you've seen everything I've ever done and everything I've ever talked about in interviews, it always goes back to this, is that whatever you want to do with your life, you can do it. Just like Mars said, life is but a dream. Once you realize that you are in control of everything that you're doing in your life, once you change your mindset to something positive and you believe in yourself and you believe in what you're doing and you're enjoying what you're doing, then you can make anything happen.
It's a lot of power in words.
And I've showed you guys that it's possible. All the juggalos watching, even ones that don't like me or don't agree with me, I did this for you. He did this for you. We did this to show you that it's possible for anybody to make their dreams come true and do what they want to do with their life.
Yo, man, let's end it on a note, bro. I think you got a letter you want to read real quick. I have nothing to do with this. Sicko ENT does not necessarily...
I'll just hold the mic up to him while he's reading.
All that stupid shit I'm supposed to say, I'm not supposed to agree with everything.
I actually wrote a letter to fucking Violent J. Alright, and I have not fucking...
Yeah, he told me about this shit. Fucking, I didn't want to do this. Fucking, but whatever. Let's fucking read the stupid letter, bro. I have nothing. I have no clue what the fuck he's gonna say. I'm sure it's gonna be retarded or fucking dumb, but we'll see.
All right. Here, let me. Oh, you getting to hold this for me? You want me to hold your dick too?
Yeah, do it.
Sure, go ahead.
All right. Dear Violent J, I have been crushing on you ever since Riddlebot
This
dropped.
motherfucker.
I fell off after Hell's Pit because Hell's Pit was the wackest shit you guys ever put out.
You're fucking nuts. Barda Boy, I like you. Barda Boss, whatever the fuck his name
in love
is.
with you.
You're in love with Violent J. Would you eat his cum?
Can you let me read?
Would you eat his cum? I'm asking you questions as you read. Would you eat Violent J's cum?
I hope one day we will meet so I can suck you off in the shower.
That's the answer to my question!
But I need you to bow down to me
What?
and suck my dick first to prove that our love is real. I love you, Violent J. Sincerely, the drunk Zambini. And okay, that's it. That's the end of the
I
letter.
think Violent J has just.
And I haven't mailed this shit yet. I gotta mail this shit.
Good luck, man. I got the address for you.
I think the drunk Zambini just came out.
I think he did. I
have not came out.
I think he did. Violent J, I'm sorry. I have nothing to do with this, man. I'm just being the devil's advocate, fucking interviewing these
you a half a fag,
motherfuckers.
bro?
I'm not half fat.
This motherfucker's a half.
Hey, we all got like the, if you're with some dumb bitch, serious relationship shit, like you have that conversation.
So what if you're gay and you're with a dumb
this
dude?
is the conversation you have with these motherfuckers. Give me the motherfucking mic, you dumb fat fuck. No. But like, you be with some bitch.
Now you look gay as hell. You're like leaning on him and shit.
I want to.
You're talking about fake. You keep using that.
I never blew this.
You keep using that fucking F word, but you're leaning on him like he's your boyfriend.
Yeah, because he's a fucking whatever. No, but you know how like you be with some bitch and then you have that stupid conversation like, well, I would like the celebrity fuck motherfucker.
We're gonna end it on. Listen, we're gonna end it on
this other.
Shut up, guy. We're gonna end it on this note.
No, you gotta keep.
I appreciate you.
Violent J is like the celebrity I wanna fuck.